Let's see. Perfect, perfect. Get you guys over here. Looking fantabulous. There we go. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. It's Paint with Josh. We're back in the studio. Going to do something awesome for you today. I've been doing a lot of sunsets recently, so I figured let's do a blue sky. We'll drop down just a little bit of our ultramarine blue from the medium set. We'll just drop it onto our canvas, blending it down, not trying to get too much of it into our dark black gesso area. But just like that, blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it, blend it all over the place. And you're just crisscrossing back and forth, judging our pressure. All of a sudden, we got a really cool looking sky. Just like that. Right? The more we mix it and blend it, the softer and softer it will get. Not really taking our brush off of the canvas, just massaging the paint until you get this soft little blue sky. You don't really have to do much more than that. That's a wicked cool blue sky. But if you want to have a little difference, maybe we'll catch, let's catch our light on this side. Let's put our black up into this corner, and again, we'll just let it blend over. And we'll get to decide as we're mixing how far that black goes down, how much of our black gesso area we're going to cover up, right? We're in control of all this paint, and we're allowing it to slide across our canvas. Now, let me tell you everything I've done to this canvas so far in order to make it look just like this. I had a 20 by 24 inch canvas. They sell them in a 3-pack now. Did you guys realize that? They're selling these 20 by 24s in a 3-pack, just like the 18 by 24. So we had a 20 by 24 inch white canvas. I blacked out this whole area with our black gesso and let it dry completely. And then when it came time to paint this painting, I put our liquid clear over the black area and then our liquid white over the white area. So the canvas is wet. And it should be just about that much paint. There we go. Gorgeous, right? Just gorgeous. Now, the more paint that you have on your brush, the harder it becomes to blend out your sky. So you can either wash the brush, you can dab it off on a paper towel, you can do whatever you gotta do in order to make it your sky. Just have it a little bit darker on the one top corner, a little bit lighter on the bottom and to the left, and that's pretty much all you need. Let's go right into our thick titanium white. We'll come out here, and let's just say maybe this way today. Just popping it out, bang, blast it out into the night. Just wherever. And we pop up over here too, so we got this little U shape. All we're doing, literally, you can hear it, just mushing, pushing this cloud into our canvas. Nothing much else to do beyond that. You don't want to make it too perfect. You don't want to do anything too crazily. Then you get up there, you can even take your big old 2-inch brush and mix it down, mix it down, mix it down. The more we mix, right, very light pressure along the top, harder pressure on the bottom. Because the more we mix the bottom away, the more we're going to like the cloud, the more it's going to blend in, where we have this nice bright top, and then we have all these little imperfections and differences, right? Because, what do I always say? What makes a cloud a cloud? All of its imperfections, all the weird areas and the places where it's not just perfect. Now, I was also talking in my class earlier today that I taught to Mike, and he did an excellent job doing a seascape. Sometimes you don't need to go back to your palette to get more paint. You can grab some darkness from up here in the top corner, pop in little shadows, go back and mix those guys up, and then all of a sudden your clouds might look a little different. Maybe you want it to be a little bit darker. So we just mix it, but without getting any extra paint, right? Leaving that stuff up there looking really cool. Now remember, all the mods will tell you exactly where to go in order to find all of Paint with Josh paintings. And this one is right on the homepage of PaintWithJosh.com. So all you have to do is head over there, check it out, put it in your cart, and then come back here and tell me what to name it. Right? Because did you know, the purchaser gets to choose the title of the painting here at PaintWithJosh.com. Let's grab a little bit. Let's mix our darkness up, and let's come out here and just start throwing in right there, right up into our cloud. Maybe peek right above it. You can see as we're dipping down, we're going through that cloud, down under into that bluer, lighter area. Same thing on this guy. have them deposit down. Now, we don't need all sorts of paint to be up there on this little mountain. Really don't need it. So what we're gonna do is scrape up all this excess stuff kind of in the direction that we want our little mountain to lay, right? And then we can determine what it's gonna look like by the time we get done brushing it out. 'Cause that's all we have to do. We gotta come up here, you can use that big old Bob Ross 2-inch brush. Come up here and grab it, and slide it down, right? Get in there, slide it down on our one side. It's all going our one direction till we get to the peak. Now we gotta grab it from its edge right here, not up the top edge. That'll be bad. Grab it from the edge down here, pull it out, blend it out, pull it to the side, mix it up. You can't really tell what's happening or where the bottom of it is, and all of a sudden you got a little floating mountain back there, right? We'll come back in with our palette scrapey tool. Drop a bit of white over here, a bit of blue down there as well. Let's mix it up a bit more blue. There we go. There, we want it to be like a sky blue color. Can you see my sky? About that blue, that's what we want it to be. We don't need to have too much paint on this pile. We need to get about twice the amount of white that we very first grabbed, and one little squeeb, just a little old piece of that light color blue, and that way when we mix that pile, it will be a very, very, very bright blue, because we did put some blue in there, right? So it's not pure titanium white. It's kind of blended down a little, and that's what you have to do to keep them further away in the distance. Remember, this is the dark part of our sky, so all of our shadows have to come off of our mountain this way. And we'll start depositing them as we go down. Now, the more that you stick up there and the thicker they are, first, the more and the longer it's going to take for your paintings to dry, right? And the more chunky it's going to be, the harder it is to then lay your next section of colors down, right? Now, let's come over here, grab up a bit of our titanium white, grab it right along the edge, and just let it whip down, right? Where does it want to grab in your mind? Where are your bright areas and dark areas? And we're just letting it graze across the canvas until there is no more paint left on the edge of our little tool. It doesn't have to be this perfect straight line either, right? You can get out there and project up. Little peaks of light will just help. There we go. Drag them off to the side. Right? How far do you want your snow to go down your mountain? Up to you. But remember, you never have to go all the way to the edge. You ever see me take the paint all the way to the edge? Because it's not needed. You don't have to do that. Now, in just 8 minutes or 7 minutes, we've painted a really cool sky, a wicked awesome mountain, and I know you guys can do it too. You may not be as fast, and that's okay. You don't have to be as fast. All we're doing is grazing on either side right here so we can keep our pressure and control it better. Get out there and mix it, very soft, just taking away some texture. Then we'll come in here and we'll tap it. We'll get right below and we'll tap it again. We'll get right below and we'll tap it again, all feeding that land down. Now, as we come around here, we're going to start tapping vertically and then changing and tapping it this way. Coming up, grabbing some of that light color, tapping it out. Grab some of the light, tap it out. Where do you want it to be? How far? See how we turn the brush and back over here into this side. Just making it easier for our next section, right? Making the paint a little bit thinner, making it easier to then put our next set of stuff on. You don't need it to be crazy out there. Now let's say maybe we went a little bit too ham and we wanted some of our details further out here. Always just be fast with it, right? You don't have to do anything to it. You don't have to, if you get up above your mountain too, because it's white, it'll just blend away. It doesn't have to look perfect or whatever, right? We're deciding what it looks like, how far it wants to go, and every time that we do it is another chance for us to do it a bit differently, right? Like a little old thing. And then we'll have it all mushed off to the side. So the same thing, we have to go back and soften it. Just don't soften it as hard as you did last time. Get back in here, tapping around the bottom, just so we got all that room. Now we're gonna go back over to our dark color, that dark color that we made our mountain with. And wiggle down on it, make it nice and sharp on our brush. You guys check in, tell me where you're watching from. What time is it where you are right now? All right, where are you from, guys? Where are you from around this world? Let's see. There we go. Awesome. We got North Carolina, Arizona, Algeria, Ireland, Alabama, Ohio, Sweden, Michigan, upstate New York, Texas, Kurdistan. Let's see, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Poland. Boom, ba boom, Cosmic Lighthouse over there on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Let's see. It's always easier when Cosmic's here. She knows how to mod better than anybody else. Now let's take our very thin brush. Let's start down here. We don't want to project up into our snow, if not just a little bit, okay? And then we're going to make almost like a little triangle out of these paints like that. Just these little dabs. We're gonna make like a little pyramid, okay? Then we're gonna come next to it. Make another little pyramid. So one in the center, a little bit down on the side, a little bit down on this side, filling in the bits, right? Now the more that you do this, the more it's going to look like little trees that are far away in the night. And all we're doing is tapping into this color down here to help fill this gap, right? The more that you tap those trees in, the more that mountain's gonna look like it's much further away, the more distance you're gonna project in your scene, all because of where you're placing your trees. Why are we able to put the trees here? Because we softened all that texture prior. You don't need everything to always be exactly the same amount of anything. Just remember that. Let's not go too far over to the side either. Now, let's take our little 2-inch brush. We'll come up from the bottom, just like so. Boom, 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 boom. Dragging up through it, and then tapping in and creating that same mist that we did at the base of our little trees, like we did at the base of our mountain. Tap that little misty area down and down. Try not to get it too much into our black area down there. Right? And then you come back here, and you mix it up. Now that we're into our little black area of our canvas, we don't have to use so much paint in order to get it to cover, right? Now, we're gonna see that line back there. So, in my mind, at least, what we're gonna do is take our PaintWithJosh 1-inch brush, come over here into our green and into our yellow on both sides, right? Both paints on one side of the brush. Wiggle it down, flip the brush over, tap in those paints, right? We're just wiggling and then tapping up into the paint. Push it in like that. Very cool. Now you got all these flat lines. Now we can come out here and we can decide, maybe our trees didn't come down far enough, but what if we just bring up the level of our land and go above our little dark line instead? We're in control. All we're gonna do is tap it in. Right, let's flip our brush over so we can tap on underneath, get underneath it, tap it in again, right underneath, go underneath it again, tap it in again, getting flatter and flatter and flatter. Over here, over there, wherever. The more you tap it, the more grass you're going to see, right? And then if you have areas that look like this, you just haven't done it enough. Okay, so get back in there, fill it in. Not everywhere. You don't need every single space to be all green. You want to have some spaces that are a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, and whatever. And all of a sudden, you start getting this really cool little thing back there. Oh, I like it, guys. But what if we got rid of this part right here? Turn that into a little thingy. I feel it. I feel it. Okay. Now, we know where our land is going to live, right? We need to put something over here, some big form of messiness. So I'm going to ask you not to scroll away as soon as I start blasting in all this paint, okay? Now, I'm only asking you that because initially it looks very bad when we start this next little bit of our coniferous little tree that lives out there. It's going to look really bad, okay? So what I want you to do is just not scroll away. Just give me like 3 minutes. Can you just hang out for 3 minutes? What I did was mix some of my sap green in with my plaque mixture. All right, our plaque is our blue, black, and crimson. You'll pick all these terms up the more you watch me, the more you'll understand. So like I said, don't leave. Don't go anywhere. Because initially this looks, eesh, right? We'll get up here and we'll start a tapping. And a tapping. And just making the tip top of our little tree look however we want it to look. Okay, and as we start with more and more and more paint, down the dip inwards and then pop back out, right? That little dip in, just like that. It's amazingly perfect. We want to have the darkness and all the stuff and all the texture because it's going to help us with our bushes when we go to create those little guys, right? So now we've come down at an angle. We're also going down at an angle, right? We're coming down this way, going down that way. You never want to go back up the same way in order to help with your perspective and everything. You got to go down the same way that you go up. It doesn't make any sense, but you'll understand the more you watch, right? Angles, angle, angle, angle. It's coming down kind of steep. Better be going down kind of steep over here too. It's just going to help us. I'm telling you, it's just going to help you. Right? Let's do this guy, drag him out a little bit. There. That way we can tell where to go back and put our little grass area in. All these things, guys, we get to do. Every time that we go to do a painting, we get to do it a little bit differently. Right? Now let's take our oval brush. We're going to grab some of our liquid white paint, which is a thinning agent that makes our very thick paints just a little bit less crazy and thick. And then we're going to come back here with just a light touch. Too much pressure, guys, and you're going to make mud. Have you ever made what they call mud? Ever made mud? We're going to take our odorless mineral spirits, mix it down here into our titanium white and a little bit of blue mix. And then come up here and start having little tree trunks. There's a whole like big old guy and he comes out over there, whatever. Right? Doesn't matter what's happening. A little bit on the top. We'll go back to our liquid white and our sappy green color. Let's tap in just a few more things right underneath those branches. Right? Maybe they cut across that branch right in the middle. Maybe they're out there, but just a little. Right? We want to have that dark space. We don't need to cover everything. If we're covering everything, we are not going to like it by the time that we get done. Tapping on very lightly, very lightly, very lightly. You start seeing all these little things are in fact a million different little bushes and branches that are sitting over there. It's not just one big lump of stuff. Right? Back over to our sap green. A little bit of our yellow ochre this time as well, mixed with that sap green. Right, and then again, very light on the pressure. So this will be a little bit different. Not trying to put them everywhere. Not trying to have every single piece be all lit up. Or at least not all exactly the same ways as they were before, because that's not going to help us, guys. It just won't help. If everything is looking all exactly alike, it's just never going to help anybody. Those little bits growing from underneath, being held up over here, and little things and whatever. Right? It's all up to us, and we can use whatever colors we want. We can change up the color. We can use more yellow ochre in this case. Dropping them down, dropping them down. Maybe we want to. Maybe we want to kind of change and go to that madder carmine color from the Meaden set. And drop in some pinky little flowery bits. Right? But what are we doing? We're not touching everything all the same. We're not filling every space. And we're not over touching or over dabbing all of the colors either. Because when you dab them too much and you get rid of all of that dark color that's underneath there, you lose all of your depth. Now, what happens if we were to come in here with our grassy brush? Dropping up, right? Feeding it down. Maybe we kind of tap in and line up with our little guy. And it's all about how many times can we tap this grassy color until it looks how I want it to look, right? Do you want to have some gaps in between like that and make it look like it's rolling and humpy, right? Or do you want to fill those little places in and then have more of a flat thing that's more filled and more uniform, right? It's all up to us. Just remember, it takes a minute to dab in all that stuff. It really does. It's not a quick old thing, right? Ah, it's wicked cool. Wicked cool, guys. And remember, all you gotta do is follow up underneath your line, then get a little bit flatter each time, kind of starting from the same point, getting a little lower and a little lower, and then we'll go back and we'll fill it in. It's all the tappy taps, however you like it to be. Kind of taking these guys from down here and rolling them up underneath. That's how you can kind of make your land sit together correctly. All up to you guys, literally, whatever you want to do. Anything you can do. right? The little tappy taps. You gotta get them in there, and you gotta mush on them, you gotta push, and you gotta do all the stuff. Now, some of the times, your brush can get overly filled with color, like mine is right now. So what I need to do is wash it out. Let's see. Maybe we'll switch to the 2-inch version and show you how the old PaintWithJosh works on the 2-inch. There we go. Okay, 2-inch we can fill up a little bit more space a little faster. So we'll get into our sap green, maybe into our yellow ochre as well. Bring it down, change up the whole color of our grass down here, because this other grass was our sap green and our cad yellow. Right? So we'll obviously have a little difference in our scene. Right? So again, let's just say we're gonna come down here, tap it in. Right? The more we tap at it, too much paint on the brush. There we go. The more we tap at it, right, the more it's gonna look like little grassy areas. What if we left a little gap underneath? Right? What if this guy, tap him in, vertically tapping on the brush. Right? Don't cover that little gap, Josh, I like that. And then what if we turned and we went this way now? It's much flatter. Right? Just kind of picking up from the edge, leaving those little spaces, those little differences. Maybe it starts flowing down this way. Right? How many things can you get your grass to do? Right? How many different little ways can you do stuff? And remember, if you like this painting, it is available over on PaintWithJosh.com. But you gotta be the first one over there to get it. That's the secret, because you never can tell when someone else is gonna get over there, or if they're just about to get it and you're gonna miss out. Right? You never tell unless you go check it out. The more that we change, we're having those rounded things, so we're coming down and then flattening off and going back up. Right? How do you want your grass to look? Because the more spaces and differences and little things that you leave in there, the better it's gonna look. Right? Isn't that just the coolest? Isn't it just the coolest, guys? Oh, guys, isn't that just the coolest? Let's say we came down this way. Tapping it in. Right? Just going underneath, underneath, underneath. Maybe this guy will tap down from his little guy. Right? All we're doing, tapping at our paint, spreading it out. Letting it mix in, letting it spread, leaving those little dark areas and light areas, because we can do whatever we want to do, but don't just do it at random. You have to kind of feed the land in. Right? Now, let's go start throwing some stuff back here. What if we had just a little old something, just something back there? But in order to do that, we need to mix up a bit more of our dark colored paint. So our crimson, our black, and our blue, which we call PaintWithJosh Black. It's a deep, dark color, and it stands out against our light color and brings our stuff into the foreground. That's all we really do. Now, we'll drop down here, we'll pick this guy up, and remember, you can get this painting if you go to PaintWithJosh.com. Let's come over here. Let's get a little bit taller. We'll split in between those two guys. A little taller than our trees. Plop down. Wherever you're ending down there at the bottom is where your tree is going to live. We're going to push against the canvas, trying to deposit some of those little bits of stuff, right? Doesn't have to be the biggest, fattest tree you've ever seen. Doesn't even have to look symmetrical. That's the whole best part about it, right? We can also take a bit off of our bushy brush, pop its way out. We're determining how big it is, how far our little bush grows, this, that, and the other. All up to us, guys. Come in here with our little 1-inch or 2-inch brush, or whichever one you want to use, and start tapping down so it'll pick up some of that color. It'll start dropping off a little shadow. This guy we're going to tap up, feeding that color, just working it away. And then if we need to, we can always go back in with a bit of our brighter grass, pop back up in here and fix our colors. Do all that stuff. But the more you get to the side of your canvas, the more you realize you don't have to do everything. You don't have to paint everything. You don't have to show everything. You know what I mean? So, do less, right? Less is more. Let's go over here with our sap green, a little bit of our cad yellow, just a little bit. Now, because we added our liquid white to our sap green and yellow mix, it's going to pop off of our brush much easier with much less taps, right? Now, obviously, our whole tree can't all be the exact same color. You have to 1,000,000% leave a bit of that darkness in there. You just got to. There's no way around it. You gotta leave the dark. Right? Now, depending on how many times you tap at your little tree, depending on how bright or how thin your color is, right, as we're tapping into this guy, we want just a little piece. We don't want the whole tree to be filled. We don't want every part of every section of this tree to have bright green on it. We want some of that darkness to show through, right? So, don't have it be bright everywhere. Doesn't have to be the same everywhere. Don't overly touch it too much everywhere. Now remember, that's our midground tree. We're not going to notice it too much as we go and put things in. We'll have other bits to look at. Let's pop some of our bushes off this side. A bit brighter on our one side, shadowier on our other side, and then you can always go back in and add in your little sticks and twigs and little different things that are growing up out of there. Right, if we can see a couple on this guy, I'm sure we'll be able to see a couple on that guy too. Very cool. Now, as we get closer to us, everything gets bigger, right? So, what if we were to lay down just an enormous tree right down over here? Right, so we'll take our crimson, black, and blue. Again, I need to make up a bit more of it. I never make up enough. You guys ever do that? You ever find that you just don't have enough of your Paint with Josh plaque? Now remember, if you wanted to purchase this painting, this is what I do for a living, and you can help me out by going to PaintWithJosh.com. I'll trade you. You get this, and I'll actually send it to you. How about that? Now, let's take our dark brush again. We need to make something a little bit closer, a little bit bigger, a little bit crazier, right? A bit more detail. So, we'll come in here. Need to be taller. I guess we could be about as tall or taller than our mountain. Drop it down. Boom. Right? What about this tree makes it look like it's closest to us? Anybody out there know? What makes that tree, or this stick anyway, look like it's close to us? Anybody? 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 Josh K said hi. I'm Josh K, not you. No, I'm just kidding. It's bigger, right? I mean, it's taller, and it sits lower than everything else. It sits lower than our mountains, sits lower than our trees, sits lower than this guy, sits lower than this guy. It's way down here, right? So, by the time that we get way down there, we should have a cool looking little tree. Now, let's just imagine we've got a couple little breaks in our trunk over here, right? So we can see through a couple little places. Kind of break away from our trunk and make a little eagle's nest in there, right? Doesn't always have to be the biggest or whatever, but just make a little spot. And then we can determine, you want to make your trunk a little bit bigger or whatever, right? It's all up to us. We're in control. If you don't like those little eagle's nest looks, you can always get back in there and fill it in and make it bigger and fatter and whatever. It's all up to you, literally. Every time that you go to do a tree is another chance for you to do a different kind of a tree, or fill it in more or fill it in less or whatever. But the main goal is we want it to be thick. It's gotta be the chunkiest paint you have ever painted with, and there's gotta be a lot of it up there. Okay? We don't wanna go down too much further than that. I wanna have the base of my tree be at the base of this guy, then we'll be able to see some of our grass back here. Very cool. And if you didn't like your trunk or whatever, you can go back and do different things. It's all up to you. Every time, literally every time you go to do it, you're in control of doing it a different way. Let's go back to our sap green, a little of our cadmium. We just want the paint to be brighter is all. Maybe some of our yellow ochre as well. We'll all mix in with the green and be cool. Let's come out here and tap on. Now, if we have the right mixture, then it should be good on the first go, unlike our first try back here where we didn't have the right mixture and it was a little bit harder to do that. Right? All we're doing is tapping on a couple little spots of brightness into our tree. And every time we tap onto it, we pick up that dark color. So, that either means you have to smack the tree harder in order for the brush to get the rest of the color off, but the harder that we tap, the more that we mix mud, right? So it's all about your mixture. Do you have enough of that liquid white, wet, runny paint in order for it to come off of the brush with a very light touch? Because that's what we need. We need it to deposit and then move. And you only get a few taps, honestly, before your brush has become so dark that you just can't do it anymore. And then, when it is that dark, you'll be depositing less bright things off its backside, which will make it look like it's got some depth and some shadow in there. Right? Very cool. Very cool, guys. Remember, it never has to be dark, doesn't have to all shine. Not every place has to be so bright, and all of that all comes into play every time you go to do one. Now, since we've got our white and our brown, let's get this guy over here. There. Just gonna take that light color, we're gonna pop it onto our trunk on this one side. We're just gonna tapping at it, tapping at it, tapping at it, tapping at it. The more you tap at it, the more chunky it will become. You wanna have, actually we got our light on the wrong side, but it's okay. Put it on this side. Like that. Now we go back with our darker brown, put the darker brown on the back side because you need one side to be darker and one side to be light, and all of our light's coming in from this side. I almost forgot. Now, if you wanted as well to have a little space or two in your trunk or in your tree that you can see through and see your trunk into, you can absolutely do that. Just don't make them too big or too bright. That's all we do. Okay, let's get back in here, see what else we can fit right in between that old guy. Maybe we got a little sticky tree. Maybe we got a tree that may be a bit bigger. Yeah, he's gonna be bigger for sure. What makes this tree bigger than our other tree right next door to him? All right, what do you think? What makes this tree right here bigger and more noticeable than our little pine tree that we just did? What about it? What about it makes it more noticeable, right? And you want it to be a very dark paint, okay? Oh, that's very cool. You want it to be a very dark paint. So even though it looks bright, right? It only looks bright because of the way that we're dragging it down and my bright lights in my studio. So if I were to go like this and take away all of those vertical streaks, then it would become much darker in its color, yes? You need it to be dark, that's all. And all it is dark in real life. All it is are these lights that make it look not dark in person. Or you know, on the camera anyway. But what about that tree makes him taller, makes him bigger than everything else down here? Right, it's thicker, yes. So we got the thickness to it. It goes from top to bottom, right? The top of the tree we can't even see. Very cool. Very, very cool, guys. I like this one. Like it. You make it get bigger down here at the bottom, or bigger on this side down at the bottom. And if it has a little bend or whatever, that's okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect thing, right? Now, what if we grabbed our liner brush? Take our old liner brush into our odorless mineral spirits, and then let's just break away. Down there, maybe we got one coming off of this side. How far out do your branches go? What direction are they facing? It's all up to you every time. I just got out here. So I'm just kind of wiggling that brush. Even though it's very wet, you have to cut it through all that light colored paint that's out there. Otherwise, it's not gonna stand out. Again, wiggling it, make it odd, make it weird, make it pop out, make it look in, push back your other trees by cutting in front of them. Boop. A little branch down here at the bottom too. I like it, guys. Remember, not everyone is all perfect. Some of these branches come out and they never grow all the way to the end. So, you don't have to do it all the way to the edge. And then we'll take that brown, and like I said, we're just gonna kind of tap on its left side. So all of our light's coming from the left. And the more brown that we put over this black mix or this darker color, with little gaps in between, tell me it doesn't look like tree bark. Just go ahead, I'll wait while you fib to me and say it doesn't look like tree, because this 1,000,000% looks like tree bark, and you cannot persuade me any differently. right? This painting's so, hello, yeah, I love it. I love it. Hang on, we gotta go through the whole thing. Boom, yeah, I like it, thank you. Thank you, man. Let's see, what do we got over here? Timothy. He usually watches over on YouTube. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate you for being here, firstly, and for getting the painting, secondly. Appreciate that. Let's grab a little bit more of this brown. Let's start working it up, just tapping it up the tree. Now, why does this look like tree bark? Because of the gaps in between. Because it's not all the most perfectest of things, or coverage, or whatever, right? You get those trees where you have the little ridges in their bark, and they go down the entire tree. What we're doing is just kind of tapping at it and pulling away. That way you'll have all of this texture on your bark. The only reason we're doing that is because this tree is in the foreground. If this tree sat in the background, I would not want so much texturous bark on it, because that would make him look like he was in the foreground. And if he's not in the foreground, you don't want all that stuff. Now, let's go back over here to our dark, or Van Dyke brown, the deeper, darker brown. Let's scrape that guy up. Might as well scrape up the other brown with it too. There, now we'll take this guy and blast on the back side. So we've got that same amount of texture throughout our whole tree. Right, just tapping and removing. And this paint is very thick. It makes like a suction cup. And then you try to pull it away, and your tool tries to get stuck there, and it leaves all that texture on that tree. Yes. All that texture, which when it dries, will feel like real bark. It's really cool. Really cool. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate you. Boom! Man, that's really neat. That is a nice one, guys. You can just imagine rolling over this little hump. This little hump is a bit too dark. There. I mean, a couple little spaces, a couple little taps over them, just to help it kind of go away a little bit. That's all we need. Now, we've got all this plaque mix still mixed up, and we need to get down into our foreground and cover these little trees and decide maybe they live all the way that heck over here, blasting in all that paint just to black everything else out, right? Push it backwards. We don't need to see everything all the time. I don't have to see all the grass. I know there's grass behind this bush, meaning you have to bring it up and cover over it. Otherwise, you will not project that distance. All right, let's get our liquid white and our matter carmine color. We'll go pink on this little guy first. Remember, all of our light is coming from the left in this scene, so catching that way, meaning you gotta go back in with our odorless mineral spirits and our titanium white, right? So you make those little white branches. And when you think about, oh, Josh, the branches aren't white, they're brown. Go look. Go legit look. A lot of times they are white. There are white little branches out there. I drive down to the beach all the time, and I have to drive down through the forest to get to the beach out here in Oregon. And you'll see a billion little white sticks. They're just everywhere. Just everywhere. Let's go into our Indian yellow too. We've done our Indian yellow onto this guy. Liquid white into the old Indian yellow. Let's pop that. Oh, look at those bright little flowery little highlights off of this guy. Oh, he's fantastic. Look at those colors together. Man alive, if that's not the coolest little thing. Now, why does it look like there's some depth, though, in these little bushes back here? Right? Why does it seem like we could reach in and maybe grab something out of those little bushes? Does anybody know the reason why we have the depth? Because we have all that darkness. Right? We haven't covered over everything. We want to be able to see the stuff. Right? Look at those. Oh man, that's cool. Now, we gotta finish it off. And you guys have to start coming up with a title for Tim. Since he got the painting during the live show, he now gets to title it. What we're gonna do is, let's say we came down over here, we're tapping in our grass, and let's say there's too much paint there. Forget about it, we'll do it later, right? Let's change over here. Deposit going down in a different direction from this guy. Okay, so we're up into our bushes and then down. And here different direction, grabbing whatever we want to grab. You can grab parts of your bushy, flowery thing and turn it into grass. It don't matter. Right? Whoever says you can't, they're totally wrong. Because you can do whatever you want to do. Get out here, tapping it in. You want it, especially in the foreground, to be kind of less covered, more areas of stuff. We can see more little places of empty ground and things like that because we're closer to us. You know what I mean? Vice versa. Maybe we want to see it a little bit brighter because we're closer to us or whatever. It's all up to us and how we see it, how we view it, and then how we paint it, right? Exactly. Just walk out, get down, around, or maybe over the hill. What's down there, I wonder? I wonder, guys. Gosh, it's just so pretty, isn't it? Just so pretty. Let's take a few more of these little guys over here. Shrink out a couple from the little bottom area. Whoop! Just like that, guys. That's a cool painting. Just if you ever done did ask me, I would tell you that's pretty cool. Let's take some of our dark paint as well. Remember, we've got to fill and put on some of these branches with a little bit of bark. Not a lot. And remember, we wait until a little time has passed so that these branches are less wet. Now up here, my God, be careful. Don't put on too much. Don't do anything too wild, too crazy. And always have a little bit of a, there, like a little thing and a little thing. So it's not just straight out, right? But be gentle. But if you leave these little guys a little time to dry, then it becomes easier to get that texture to stick onto our branches. In this case, let's go from the center of the tree out that way. It's going to help project right out there. Now, that's just with our dark brown. We need to go back with our lighter brown and put just a little touch of it onto our tree limbs on the other side. And it doesn't have to be fully covered. Right? Have you ever gone and seen branches where you can see every single thing on every single branch? I don't believe you. I just don't believe it. Right? Because we're never able to see every piece. Maybe we might be able to see a little bit, or every, a little piece of that brightness, or a little piece of brown on top, but we can mainly just see the dark. That's all our eye wants to pick up is the dark, especially the more you look up into the sky and you have to squint, right? You can't really see anything that's going on back there. But I like that, you guys. On a big old canvas too, in just 40 some odd minutes. That's really cool. Isn't that neat? And what did we do? We just made a mess with our grass, right? We were just tapping at different angles and kind of going like this, leaving spaces of darkness so they weren't all filled in. Nothing was all the same. We made our cool little tree over here, right? So many things you can do, you guys. Literally, you can try to repaint the painting and have it come out 10 times different every single time. And that's the joy, or that's the fun of painting with PaintWithJosh, is our differences that we can do. Right? We know it's not like they're coming out with new colors every day, right? Like all the colors are pretty much out. We already know we've got all these colors, and yet all of us can use the same colors and the same tools and come up with wildly different results. That's amazing to me. It literally, like, how does that work? We're using the same colors. We're using the same tools, the same brushes, the same everything. So how is it coming out differently? Magic. And that's the fun part about painting, is that if I tried to do this again, literally right after this, try to do it again, it would look totally different. Because I would go, you know what, I did those last time, or I had my mountain over here, so maybe let's change the light, put the mountain the light on this side. That changes everything, right? Our highlights are all on different sides, our grass looks different, everything. All depends on how you started off. Right? So when you go to do the next painting, try the light coming from the other side. Try not having the mountain there. Just do the background trees. Try a sunset sky. Try something different. Because you want to know what it is, what the real fun is? When you get rid of that, oh my God, I'm going to mess it up if I do this. And you replace that fear with curiosity. What's going to happen if I make this big old tree right down there? How's the painting going to look? I won't know unless I try it, right? So what's going to happen? Ask yourself that. Instead of going, oh, I'm gonna ruin this if I do, just go, you know what, what's gonna happen if I plop a big old tree right back here and have it end in these bushes? It's gonna make the painting look a little bit different. That's when you start having fun. When you go, what if we did this? What if we next did that? And then we did this, and we did that. And by the time you get done, you got a very awesome, cool little painting, right? Thanks, Ward, appreciate you. So you guys come up with a name for Tim. Bob the Builder. Thank you, Tim, I appreciate you. So Tim gets to choose, guys, out of all these titles. Sometimes he lets me choose out of all the titles, but we'll decide today. He's watching over on YouTube. So typing in Snow-Capped Meadow, Peace Valley. Let's see, Bambi's Meadow, so incredible. I appreciate you, Haley. Oh, Serenity Valley. Colorado Springs, they say. Call it Colorado Springs. Thanks, Alaria. Appreciate you over there on YouTube. Boom, ba-boom. But Tim, we need a title, unless you want me to pick from all these guys. And then, that's a really cool little springtime, summerish, early summertime painting. Some areas of the world, the mountains never, you know, they never lose their snow. So you don't not have to have snow on the top. Cosmic Lighthouse. You can pick, he says. Okay, so I'm going to pick the title, you guys. That means we're going to rotate you around over here. Here we go. So now we can see the painting, and I can see all the titles. We used our oil paints, right? Blissful Buff. You mean bluff? Or just buff? I dig that too. Peaceful Meadows, Purple Mountain Majesty, Meadow in the Valley. I like that one. What kind of paint did you use? Oil paints. Let's see. Snow Mountain Meadow into the valley. I like that. Forest Mountain, I dig it. All right, what do we think? Through the rose-colored glasses, bruh. Use the B-R-U-H-H-H-H-H. I'll type it in. I'll write it down however you type it in. Gentle Ben's Paradise. Tranquility. Heaven on Earth. I like it. Messy Autumn. Feel ya. That's cool. All that grass back there, guys. Mystic Valley. Dawn Views. That's cool. Majestic Deliverance, I feel. What's Beyond the Fog? That's a good title, actually. Because what is back there? What's beyond that mist? Am I going to go down a hill, right? Like, obviously, we're going uphill. We're going to go down the hill and into the forest of trees. What are we going to call it? Blissful Escape. I like it. Whispers of the Peak. Serenity in Spring. Okay. Misty Mountain Meadows is cool. Pikes Peak, that's cool too. What's Beyond? That's a cool title. Why don't we call it Beyond the Fog? Right? Because I want to know too. What's back there? So let's call it Beyond. Should we call it Beyond the Fog or Beyond the Mist? What do you think? What do you guys think? We're down to 2 now. What do you think? Beyond the Fog or Beyond the Mist? Just flying through the night. All these little birdie birds, man. I love those little things. Ooh. All right, should we do Mist? Should we do Mist? Is your phone auto-correcting and making you want to type most? Because most people don't type in the word mist. And when I still do it, I go, oh, let's learn to paint some most with PaintWithJosh. I'm like, no, not most. It's supposed to be mist. It's supposed to be mist. Anyone else like that? Mystical fog. All right, let's do Beyond the Mist. I like that. Beyond the beyond. How about that? All right, we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever it is that we want to do. And this is how I found is the easiest way to paint the top of the canvas is to use the paint that's already there, get it onto your glove, and then just wipe it back and forth until it fills in the top. Right? Now look at this. Look, would you just look at this? Look at the top. Perfectly painted, right? With just my fingertips. Easiest way to do it for me, I've found it. Some of the times when you use your brush and you try to brush over the top, your brush bristles can sneak their way down into the painting, right? And then what are you gonna do? Now you gotta mark in your sky, you gotta go back and fix. All right. Yeah, guys, where's my marker at? Anyone? Oh, found it. Found it. Didn't need to ask. Didn't need to ask. Over here with this. This one's number 1863, I believe. Bang, that's a lot, man. Beyond the mist. Dig it. Painted on 5/24/2024. We're all going to go to PaintWithJosh.com because it's the best place of all time, you guys. I love it. So, everybody watching over on YouTube and Mr. Tim, thank you for purchasing this painting. Thank you for your continued support of my art journey. Tim has probably, over the years now, probably has 10, 15 paintings, I would imagine. So thank you, Tim. Very much appreciate you. And along with everybody else who's ever bought a Paint with Josh painting, I don't think anybody in the world has more than Cosmic. Right? Mac is a close second. Melanie's got to be up there somewhere. Lynn's got a bunch as well, right? But and Honeybees is getting a bunch as well. So they're all trying to chase down Cosmic, the owner of the most Paint with Josh paintings in history. So everybody over on YouTube, Tim, thank you. I appreciate you. I love all you guys. I can't wait to see your versions of this painting. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day and blah. Goodness great.